Hey, everybody. How are you guys doing? I feel like I haven't been here for a while, but it's actually only been 1 week. Welcome to Huddle Time with Ronit. I'm super excited to be here today. And I am broadcasting to you from this most amazing place. You know that my husband and we embarked into this journey a year ago and in an airstream, and we go around the country, meet all our friends, teach and train everybody, doing our thing in an airstream. But we also look to see some beautiful, amazing places, and we are in the most gorgeous place I have seen so far, and that is Telluride, Colorado. It's magnificent. It's like paradise, untouched, untouched nature. So you have to make yourself over here. This is absolutely a bucket list, and I've been around, so you got to come here. So, welcome back to Huddle Time with Ronit. I'm super excited to have you guys here today. As you know, we come here every Monday with every Monday sharing with you all great tips from experts outside the industry, inside in the industry, people that has done so many great things, and thought leaders teaching us what we can do to navigate and improve our career, our businesses, and of course, our lifestyle. And so, if you're here for the first time, welcome. If you're here with me and have been here for quite some time, hallelujah. How you all doing? Well, today we have a great guest with us, and I'm super excited to have our guest today. But not before I'm going to give a word of thank you to all our sponsors. So, our partner, Americans Beauty Show, who, by the way, has been one of the greatest show of this year. It's been awesome. It's been such a great show. I hope you guys are going to come to April's show. It's coming up, so don't miss it because this was amazing. They are our partners and sponsor our show, Huddle Time with Ronit. Textel is a company that helps engage with your customers the way they want to. They are a texting company. Excuse me. And the reason why Textel is so great is, and of course we use it, and they are sponsors of Huddle Time, is because it's the fastest, the most sure way to communicate with your clients and with your staff. Use Textel. Their mission, of course, is to elevate the communication, to make it very convenient, and it results in higher, not only higher revenue, but super satisfaction of customer service. So Textel is a great sponsor of Huddle Time with Ronit. And of course, Salon Cadence. Salon Cadence is a white glove training company helping high achievers, salon and spa owners that value time and value life and growth and has a growth mindset to create more time, more wealth within their company to achieve, obviously, their ideal lifestyle. And with that, I'm going to move into my great guest today. Her name is Lala Chia. She is very well known from being the artist behind Lala Updo's brand. She launched her brand. She's been obviously in the industry for a long time as a bridal stylist and an educator based out of Fort Lauderdale, and just launched not too long ago her complete tools and education line online. So we're going to talk a lot about it, but she has been performed everywhere around the world, in Europe, in America, and Western Europe. And now she's with me here tonight. So welcome, Lala. I'm super excited to have you on the show.
Hi, Ronit. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for being here today. I'm super stoked to have you. Um, and I can't wait to share your story with everybody. Now, we just met not too long ago, and I literally could not recognize that beautiful accent that you have. So you're from Romania, and how long have you been in America?
I've been in United States since 2006. I came here 15 years ago.
Wow, and did you come in as a hairstylist? How did you start this? beautiful adventure.
I actually got in the beauty industry as an, I wouldn't say an accident, but I never actually thought I would do hair. I did psychology and art in my country. And when I decided to immigrate in the United States, a lot of my colleagues and a lot of my friends and family that have been already immigrated in the States told me that I should have a plan B because a lot of education from Europe is not actually recognized here. So I had some family members in Romania that own a salon, that they've been in the industry. So I went and took my license in Romania as a plan B before I decided to come to the United States. And I assisted actually someone there for 9 months before I made it in America. And when I made it here in 2006, I actually found out that not even that is recognized either. So I
I
had to
get
choose
it.
either go and do psychology for another 6, 7 years and be in college for another long period of time. I knew with art I'm not going to be able to do much here, so the choice obviously was easy. Cosmetology was just 1 year, and it was easy to go and do it. And I went and did it just because none of my education was recognized, and I had a job. I took a job as soon as I made it into the United States in May. I made it here in May, and in October I took a job as a property manager renting apartments, and I was only making
Yeah.
$240 working full time. Oh, look at that! He wants to play.
Yeah, that's Sammy. She just came to say hello and she's brought me the frisbee. You know,
I
that's
have to.
usually, yeah, you have two?
I
What do
have
you
to,
have
but I
for
put them
dog?
away. I have a Shih Tzu and a Bernedoodle.
Ah, they're just so much fun, are they?
They are.
That's Sammy, you know. Sammy just never leaves a mommy.
Mine are
So
the same. They are very needy. That's why I put them away.
no, it's
So I went and did school because I was working 8 to 4 every day in a small office with my baby in my arms, renting apartments. The apartment, the apartment I was living on the property was part of my salary, and that's why I was making only $240 a month.
wow.
And when we made it here, that's when that depression started. And, by 2007, the economy went down. My
Yeah.
husband was working in construction. So, beginning of 2007, he started to have less and less work. And eventually, by middle of 2017, he was literally home. And I was the only one working. My daughter was 1.5 when we made it in the United States. My English was very poor. Although I did English from fifth grade all the way to college, I always learned as much as I needed to pass the class. And although my dream was always to make it to United States, I never put the time to actually learn proper English. And I thought I know enough, but when I made it here, I realized that the only thing I know how to say is my name is Lala and I love popcorn. So I don't even know how I got that job as a property manager, to be honest with you. I had a very deep cleavage on that day, so I'm assuming I got that job because I like.
Thank God for that. Yeah.
So I got that property manager job, and a year in, I told my husband that I want to go and do something else. Obviously, he's not getting any work, and it was just three of us trying to survive on $240 a month.
Yeah.
And it was not cutting it. So I told him I'm going to go to school and take my license in beauty. He did not encourage me to do that. He said I need to keep my job. That's the only job that I have, that we need a roof above my head, that nobody will be able to take of our daughter, because I could not afford to pay a babysitter. And although he was home, he did not want it to take care of her. So here I am going against my husband's will, and I'm enrolling myself in school 2 years later in 2008, after 1 year of trying to convince him to let me go and do it. And he said no all that time. And in 2008, in the beginning of the year, I went and applied to a Paul Mitchell school without him knowing. And my application was denied because my English, I'm assuming it was denied because my English was very poor. So I'm not a quitter. Otherwise, I wouldn't be where I'm at today. 2 weeks later, went and applied to a different school. It was called Elite Academy in Sacramento, and it was partnered with Vidal Sassoon from London. So it was a very, very good school.
Wow. Wow.
And I was lucky enough to have the lady at the front desk who was doing the admission and giving the tests to the people to get into school. She was on vacation, and the person covering for her, it was one of the instructors. She was, I think she was Iranian, lived in her country, then Germany, then Denmark, and then eventually
Wow.
moved to United States. She had a similar story to mine, and with my poor English, I tried to explain to her that I really want to make it into school, and I already applied to one, and they denied my application because I don't speak very
Yeah.
good English. And she let me in.
Wow. Now talking about years later, I mean, we're talking about not that many years, and I think your English is amazing right now. So what did you do to really work on your, first of all, your platform artist? So being on a stage is nerving when English is your not your first language. I know it, okay, because I had to get through the fear of that. But then you also had to accomplish. You also had to learn how to present, and you had so many challenges, right? With at school, you had to learn the English, you had to learn the terms, and you had to learn the culture, which you and I discussed about it. So first of all, what an amazing way to go from point A to point B. But now you're a platform artist. What? How did you get here? I mean,
How did I get there? Well, I'll be honest with you. I could not leave my job as a property manager because it was giving me a roof above my head. So I had to go to a private school because they were the only ones having afternoon hours. So I was from 8 to 4 in the office with my daughter, renting apartments with her in my arms. Like answering phone calls, showing apartments, writing, how do you call them?
leases.
Contracts, leases,
Yeah.
and all that. And that's how I started to learn a little bit of a little bit of English. I had to learn the language when it comes to
Right.
management business. And then when I went to school, it was a totally different language. I could not take any notes in the class because my English was very poor. So I actually had to learn English and prepare myself for every test. We would have a written test every day. I'm making this. I'm talking about this just for you to understand how I actually learn English and how I
Right.
practice.
Yes. Yes.
So in class, we would have 1 hour of theory every day. Half an hour was theory, and the other half an hour you will take the written test from whatever they gave you the day before.
Yeah.
So every day we would have a written test. I could not take any notes in the class because I did not understand any English. So while I was actually in the office, okay, I was in the office 8 to 4, and then go to school from 4 to 12 o'clock every night. Make it home by 1 o'clock, do laundry, cleaning, cooking, and all that. Go to sleep 3, 4 o'clock in the morning. Wake up at 7 so I can be in the office at 8 and have my daughter with me. And while I was in the office with my toddler, renting apartments, I was actually taking the Me Lady book, look for the chapter, take one sentence out, look for each word in the dictionary, put all those words together, and try to figure out what the sentence says. And then go to the
Wow.
sentence and the next one and the next one and the next one. It
Yeah.
would take me 3 to 4 to 5 hours to actually go over one chapter so I can study for my written test. And that's how I started to learn English. Finished the school, rented a chair in a salon. I was a cut and color specialist. I was mainly a color correction specialist. I did not know anything about updos, anything about upstyling. They don't teach you anything in Europe either about upstyling, other than
Yeah.
how to set the rollers and curl the hair and tease. Probably that's pretty much it.
And the thing is also, it's I've been a stylist for over 30 years, and for me it wasn't easy to master the art of cutting. It was color came to me much easier, but updos and up style was something I said to myself, I'll never get into it because it's just so complicated, it's so hard. And I was so scared of it, so I decided for years not to go into it. But one day I decided I have to do it. If I'm going to be a full service salon, I want to try it. And I have to tell you, Lala, I just absolutely fell in love with dressing hair. And what I've learned is that um, you just got to do it over and over and over again, and have to have a very good educator. So what does it take to really get to that? And if you can touch base on And I think that's important, especially now, to become very niche in your business and become a bride specialist is something that a lot of salons do not consider, but they should.
With bridal hair, a lot of people have this wrong idea about bridal hair, and they think that you cannot make a lot of money. The money are actually the most of the money are made through color, which is true. I mean, if you're a good stylist, good colorist, I think you can charge thousands for just one client. But if you're a good bridal stylist, you can do all that money on a Saturday and a Sunday, and you don't have to go to work the whole week if you're good at what you're doing. Now, I'm not saying that everyone can do that, okay?
Right.
I mean, when I started to do bridal hair, I was charging $45. That was the first object I ever did was $45. And eventually I got to 75 and 100 and all that, you know. But there is a journey to get there, and for me, like I said, I haven't done any bridal hair, and I always, like you said, I always stood away from it because it was out of my comfort zone, and because I didn't know, like literally I didn't know anything about it. So I've done cuts and color from 2009 when I graduated until 2015. And from 2009, when I graduated, to 2015, I kept my job as a property manager, working from 8 to 4, still having my kid with me everywhere I worked. After hours at 4 o'clock, I was going to the salon and working in a salon. And on weekends, I was actually doing hair and nails for seniors in senior houses. So I pretty much
Okay.
can say that I worked 3 jobs for 9 years with no days off, no weekends
Wow.
off. And
And being a mother.
I raised my kid in the places I worked. And
Wow.
in 2014, in August, I had one of my clients. She was a long time client, and she said she's getting married and she wants me to do her hair. And I've told her, girl, you don't want me to do your hair for your wedding, but this is not my specialty. I don't even know how to do a French braid. Like back then, like back in 2014, I didn't even know how to do a regular braid. I knew nothing about upstyling. She convinced me that I can do it. She told me she doesn't trust anyone and I am the best that ever touched her hair and she knows I can do it and she only wants some curls pinned up. And I'm like, okay, that's simple. I mean, I curled hair in school and sometimes behind the chair it can be like a big deal. I just need 200 bobby pins and a bottle of Stronghold hairspray and that will do the job. And we did a trial. She loved it. And on the day of the wedding, I'm going on location, and she pulls a picture with a classic bun, like the classic bun in the back and sleek sides.
Yeah.
And I look at her and I'm like, girl, this is not what we agreed on. I'm like, this is not what the trial was about. And
Oh,
she convinced me that I can actually do it.
wow.
Big mistake. And the first lesson that I learned about upstyling: never, ever, ever let your client
Tell you what to do.
to do something that is out of your comfort zone and knowledge. It
Absolutely.
was 2 hours late for her wedding. We ended up washing her hair in the bathtub in the hotel room. Her
Oh,
makeup was ruined. Her family had to do makeup with whatever they had in their bags because the makeup artist was gone. And that was my first experience about bridal hair. Went home,
oh,
canceled all my appointments for the next 2 weeks, gave a notice to the salon owner, and I said, I'm going to stick with renting apartments. Hair is not for me. I was absolutely devastated by that.
wow. I,
Uh,
I I understand. I totally understand.
I mean,
So,
imagine having someone being 2 hours late for their wedding and having to wash their hair in the bathtub in the hotel room. It was a total disaster.
well, you are a hero for sticking to it and making her look good no matter what. I'm sure she had great pictures. Is she still a client?
Oh, heck no. I actually lost half of my clientele after that. She made sure she told everyone that I suck and they better not come back to my chair. But
Wow.
that was a challenge for me. And at the moment, I wanted to quit. 2 weeks later, like exactly like I did it when I applied to school, went bought a mannequin doll on Amazon and I started to practice. All I wanted to do is know how to do that freaking bun. I don't want to do bridal hair or have to do with any Brazilians in my chairs ever. I told myself I'm going to stick with cuts and color, but I wanted to learn how to do that bun. Well, the problem in 2014, nobody, like Instagram just came on the market. Nobody was posting tutorials. You could not find any tutorials on YouTube either. The only tutorials that you could find on YouTube back in 2014 were on braids. like regular braids, fishtail, Dutch, nothing like.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
had to figure out how to do that
Yeah.
freaking bun on my own, actually. And that was the beginning of me getting into the bridal hair and discovering a talent and a creativity that I had in me, but I never knew about because I always stayed away from it. It was out of my comfort zone, out of my knowledge. So I never tried that. And by playing with my mannequin doll, all kind of styles were coming out, and I was in shock because I've never learned anything like that ever before.
Yeah.
So I could not understand where is that coming from, not having that
Right.
knowledge, but still being able to create. And I realized that was my creativity that I always had in me. Like I said, I did art school, and I am a very creative person, but
Yes.
not into that,
Yeah.
you know. And my cousin was living on the property that I was living, and I asked her to let me play with her hair, and that was in August of 2014. And in October, I opened an Instagram account um, just because everyone had one, and I started to post pictures with my cousin's hair as literally as a hobby. I I didn't know what I was doing, and I was not planning to do bridal hair. That was October of 2014, and by the end of December, only 3 months after I opened my Instagram account, I actually made it to 13,000 followers in only a matter of 3 months. And
That's amazing. Now, what do you think contribute to that?
what
What did it
contributed
take
to
you to
that
get from?
is the fact that I opened my Instagram account right when everyone else was opening it, and there was no algorithm, no nothing. There was like literally just
Yeah.
a social platform. No, it was not a
Yeah.
business platform yet. And I
Right.
opened it at the right time, and but honestly, I think the reason my account grew so much in such a short period of time, it was the fact that I was posting something different. I did not know at the time. Eventually, as I worked on building my brand up and getting my
Yes.
image and my work known, I
Yeah.
realized that that was the reason for my success in such a short period of time. At that moment, I had no idea what I was doing. And that was December of 2014. And in by the end of December, so only 3 months of me posting bridal hair without doing bridal hair or being a bridal stylist, I got my first phone call from a salon owner asking me to go and educate their team on bridal hair. You can imagine my shock when I got that phone call. I'm telling the girl, you called the wrong number. She's like, aren't you Lala Sabris? I'm like, oh yeah, that's my Instagram account. She's like, well, you do bridal hair. I'm like, no, I don't. I do cuts and color. She's like, but what about your Instagram? And I'm like, girl, that's a hobby. I have no idea what I'm doing. And she told me she's gonna pay me $100 if I go there and teach her team of 7 people. I agree on it because just the thought of making $700 in a 3 hour period
Perfect.
was amazing, and I've never done that much money in the salon in 3 hours. And I went there and I have 47 people waiting for me, Ronit, not 7 people. She spread the word and people wanted to learn from me because my styles were different. That was my first class. My first class ever was January of 2015. 4 months of me opening an Instagram account and posting styles without being a bridal stylist or educator, having English as a second language, still having a bad English, and having no idea what I do. And everyone in that class was a bridal stylist. So
And all of yours, I mean, I've been really studying your styles, and they're all very, 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 very loose. They're not tight. They're not, they're not constructive. They're very soft and very feminine. A lot of romantic. So, what is your inspiration? Who were your mentors to do that? Where did
I
you, you know, got the creation or the attraction from?
like I said, I got into it by accident, and all this is coming out of my hands. I literally sit in bed at nighttime. Most of my ideas come at nighttime when I cannot sleep. And I am thinking about the hair that I did the day before. And then I'm thinking, what if I take different routes on that? What if I go that way instead of this way? What if I twist that way? So I'm literally like, my mind is constantly playing with hair in my mind without physically doing it. Or
Wow.
let's see, I see someone on the street and I see them with the hair in a ponytail and they have a nice accessory in there. And I'm thinking, what if I could use that accessory to actually change the style? And so I get inspired by everyone and everything around me. But
Yeah.
I made myself a promise when I started to do bridal hair and when I started to work towards my brand and my image and my work. And when I actually realized that the reason I got so popular in such a short period of time was the fact that I was coming with something different than what others were bringing to the market, I realized that in the same time, if I want to stay on top, if I want to bring something different to the table, I need to make sure that I will never recreate someone else's work. I can get inspired
Wow.
by you,
Wow.
I can love what you're doing and I can get the idea from you, but I will make sure when I'm done with that style, it's not going to look anything like yours. I just got inspired by it, but I turned it into my own thing. So I might see a technique on your page, that I feel like it's amazing, it's brilliant, but I will put my own touch on it and you will never actually know that it was yours. If it looks similar to yours, even slightly, I will always give credit.
Wow. That's amazing. And I just feel like, well, you said that is something that a lot of people need to listen. How to make your own signature look. You gotta, if you want to stand out among everything that everybody is doing, there's just so much out of it. You got to be different. Now, being different, and I'm sure Lala, you will um, agree with me, is being different. What's going to do is going to attract you the right audience, the right client, and that is actually the key to any business. Is how do you stand out and how do you attract people to come and experience what you're giving because you are different in what you do.
And when we're talking about the difference, like you said, to have your own signature, that's actually something that I tried to stay away from it. I did not want it to have a signature style. Like if you look at a lot of bridal stylists, and without me trying to put anyone down, so I hope nobody will take this what I'm saying right now the wrong way. I know and I see a lot of stylists that are very good at something and they usually get stuck into that pattern, like they mastered something and almost everything that comes after has a little bit of that thing that they mastered, and they have a signature style even if their styles are different. When you see the styles, just because it's something that they mastered in the beginning and then they put that signature into everything they create, it's their work. With
Yes.
me, people know it's my work because of the color pattern that I have on my page. They know because I have that crispy white images and those beautiful bridal backgrounds. But if we would put that on the side and they didn't know my hands, right, because they've seen these for the past 6 years, they will never know if I actually did, it's me who did that or someone else. Why? Because I never come up with the same style. You don't see the same pattern in what I create. That was one thing that I stood up with, and what keeps me on top. I always come up with something different, and I always try to not have a signature style, to come up with braids and updos, and not be just updos, and not just braids, but to incorporate and mix and intertwine those to always feel like to always for people to always come back to my page and want to see more. Because
Yeah.
if I'm doing the same thing over and over and over again, and my styles are looking slightly different, they're going to go to a different page. They want to learn something else. That's in
Yeah.
our human nature. You
Absolutely.
like something even if it's beautiful, but eventually you get tired of it, right?
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's so true. It's almost like you don't create a signature, just evolve and you will become a signature.
Exactly.
I love that. I love that. I think that's so true. Now, um, you're doing you're educating by default. You fell into educating. Are you still doing weddings?
I actually stopped taking clientele 3 years ago because I had such a high demand on education. I had people coming to my public classes and my hair show performances, and from that, I started to teach private classes, meaning one-on-ones. A lot of people actually wanted to spend a day with me and like just pick my brain and guide them through everything they do, because all of my classes are actually just demo, and I only offer hands-on classes one-on-one, where I literally spend the day with the person. So eventually I got not working just weekends doing hair shows or public classes with my tour around the country, but I
Yeah.
got to the point where during the week I was teaching private classes. So I never actually, I literally had got to the point where I had to refuse any clientele, because every weekend and every day of the week was booked with classes.
Right. Okay.
And
And so,
eventually I realized that that was my passion. And my passion
and
was not to work behind the chair. My passion was to actually make a difference in people's life by helping them, improve their craft, their skills, share my story with them, inspire them to go and chase those dreams. And I'm the living proof that you can achieve those dreams and make them, come true. I came here with no language. I had $300 in my pocket. My daughter was 1.5. I had no family to support me. I went through school and through 3 jobs for 9 years, raising my kid in the places I worked. I had days when I had no money to eat. I was waiting for weekends to go to the senior houses to steal food from the fridge so I
wow.
can be able to eat after a. And to be honest with you, you're in the industry. You know that in order to make it on the big stages and to make a name for yourself, it's usually a lifetime work. You're
Yes.
now making it on the big stages, representing your own brand in 5 to 6 years. That's
No, you
years.
don't.
And the
Yeah.
only way you make it on those big stages is that you actually represent a big brand, not your own brand. In order to represent your own brand, you have to work years, a lifetime to make it there. And I was able to do that from 2015 to I made it on the big stages on my first year of my career, Ronit.
Now, how did you get to do that, Lala? Because that's obviously, like you said, not everybody gets to do it, and you have to work hard and you have to connect and do a lot of that stuff. So, how did you work yourself into the big stage?
Well, I knew that in order for me to get on the big stage, I'm not going to be able to do it on my own. I will have to be to represent a brand in order for me to make it.
Right.
And I knew that even if I represent a brand, probably I'm not going to make it on the stage in the beginning. I would have to do booth work and do a lot of free work, and that's what I did. I tagged every person that I thought should see my work when I started to post on Instagram. I went and bought like 6 7 brands of hairspray, and every time I was posting something, I was tagging those brands, hoping that they will see my work, that they will ask me to work with them and all that. So to put it plain out there, I did a lot of free work in the first year of my career. Okay,
Yeah.
and the first person who actually believed in me and saw something different and gave me a chance to be in front of a bigger audience was David and Alexis Thurston. They own a salon in LA. I don't know
Okay.
if you're familiar with that. They were the ones who came up with the Pope Riot color,
Oh, yes, yes.
and they were the ones who came up with the Butterfly Circus, which was a different kind of education, where you
Yes.
have these 3 hours, but you don't have just one educator. You have 6, 7, 10 educators, each of them teaching something different in a matter of 3 hours. And I told you that everything started in 2014 when I had that wedding, and then by the end
Yeah.
of December I taught my first class. And in January of 2015, he reaches out and he's asking me if I want to teach in his show, and he kind of explained to me what his idea was, and he offered me. He made me a good, very let's put it that way. I've never made that much money in half an hour. Okay. And I said yes to it without putting any questions. And then June is coming, and I'm thinking, okay, I have to go to LA and be in front of how many people? I don't even know how many people are going to be there. Who's going to teach with me? What the lineup is? And I'm starting to put those questions in May, like 1 month before the show, and he's telling me that the lineup is Jenny, the Confession of a Hairstylist, Nina from Passion Square, Jay Wesley Olson, Larissa Dahl, all these names that were already known in the industry, and there is me. Nobody knew who the heck I was. I made it there. Anyway, out of all that lineup, I was the only one who got a standing ovation without
Wow.
anyone knowing me. And that was the first time when I actually stood in front of more than 20 to 30 people. We actually had, I think, over 200 people. And that was
So
the first time I actually taught in a mini show.
yeah, wow, that's what a great story. It's so much fun to hear such a fun story, how you got from one place to another. It's really a lot of people might maybe will say, well, you just happened to be in the right place, the right time, but you actually took opportunities by the hand.
I took
You
opportunities by the hand, and before I actually taught in that show, I was almost this close to go and tell them that I cannot do it because I threw up 3 times before the show. And I actually made it in front of those people because Larissa came into the bathroom to see what's going on with me. She was the only one who noticed that I'm not feeling well, and she put a Xanax in my mouth, and that's how I actually performed in that first show of mine with the help
isn't
of Larissa and
isn't
Xanax.
Larissa, isn't she wonderful? I love
She is
Larissa.
wonderful.
I
Like,
love
and
her.
literally, she told me, she shook me in the bathroom and she said this to me: Lala, if David asked you to come here, that means you're special. What you're gonna do in the next 30 minutes decides your career before if it even started. And this were her words, word by word. Do you want to ruin your career before it even started, or you're gonna keep your shit together for the next 30 minutes and show them what you're made of?
Wow, that's
And
Larissa.
and my career literally started with Larissa and a piece of Xanax.
Ah.
And
Well,
from there,
but
because
thank God for those Dynex. But literally, Larissa just like was just there for you, and she's fabulous. I love Larissa. She's
I
one of
love
a kind.
well,
Yeah, and that's the beautiful thing about our industry. It's the love that we have for each other, the respect, that we have for the hard work that we all do. I've been around for quite some time, even though I look like I'm 25. But it's just nice to see how we all, you know, the good ones
support
come and
each
stick
other and be
together.
there when is the right time,
Yeah,
when we need
absolutely.
it the most.
When you need them the most, exactly. And support you and push you, which is so great. It's so awesome, and everybody deserve to be pushed and to be supported, and everybody deserve to have something that what they want. What I like about your story is you didn't plan on doing things. It just happened. You fell in love, but I argue that it all was actually working by design. And by design because what you're doing is by design. So in some ways you must have always knew that there's something there for you that you wanted to do with creative work, and here you are.
uh to be honest with you, I always felt like color is not my calling. I never felt like I'm losing myself into it, and because I was struggling so much financially and literally raised my kid in the places I worked for so many years. In 2014, when I actually had that wedding, I need to talk about this because it's part of who I am, and I truly believe that I got where I'm at today because of that day.
Yes.
And before that, that client came to me 2 weeks later to tell me to do her hair for her wedding and all that. The reason actually she asked me is because her stylist quit on her last minute. So I was like literally plan B. And 2 weeks before she asked me to do her hair for her wedding, I was in the salon. I was in the office until 4 o'clock, and then I took my daughter, went to the salon, and I was waiting for walk-ins. I was barely making any money. From 2009, when I graduated, to 2014, I went and rent a chair like right when I got out of the school because I
Yeah.
thought I know it all. And I
Yes.
got myself from 2009 to 2014 in $40,000 in debt paying for a chair that I was not using,
Wow.
waiting for walk-ins to come in there. So you can imagine how hungry I was to get some walk-ins and some people in my chair. And I'm with my daughter next to me, and she starts crying in the salon. The salon is full with clientele,
Yeah.
with my colleagues that are renting chairs, and she cries and she tells me in front of the whole salon that I'm a terrible mother, that she never gets to play with kids at the park, and why am I not taking her to the park behind the salon? and why she can have naps like other kids, and why she cannot have like sleepovers, and why every time she wants something and all her friends have nice clothes and nice shoes and she never has it, and all she hears out of my mouth is no, 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 no. And I was already having so much on my shoulders, trying for so many years to make a living, and like I said many times, not even having food to put on my table, and
Right.
struggling from one job to another. And I'm running in the back room, crying myself out, feeling like a terrible mother, which I already felt. I didn't needed her to tell me that. And I start crying myself. I literally put myself in my knees on the back room, and I'm like fighting with God there. And I'm telling him, listen to me. I am working my ass off for the past 9 years, raising my kid in the places that I worked, and I'm barely surviving. I'm like, I'm not a lazy bot. You see, I'm really trying here. All I'm asking you is to make it happen for me, because I don't know what to do anymore. And I want to offer this kid a better life. And I said this to God, I'm making a deal to you. If you help me make a living off of hair only, and help me uh, get rid of the other two jobs and spend time with my daughter and offer her a better life, I promise you that every person that will sit in my chair will find out how you turn my life around.
Wow.
And that was beginning of August. And 2 weeks later, I have that encounter with my client, doing her wedding, going through a disaster, starting to do bridal hair, and having my first offer to teach a class by the end of December. And in January, my first offer to teach in a show. Few
Wow.
months later, I win the Behind the Chair award. They just came up with the one-shot category that year. And I'm entering just like, I will enter just so people know my name without even thinking that I will make it there. I make it through the finalists. I go to that show just to take pictures with my idols, with Sam Villa, Guy Tang, and all these people that I was looking up at. And they call my name on the stage. I'm not even dressed. I don't even have a speech. I didn't even think that that could happen. I was not even a bridal stylist yet. And I win the one-shot award. After that, I get my first contract with Sexy Hair. Now, it sounds really easy when I say it this way. And it
Oh,
sounds
it's not. Of
happened to me.
course not.
But like I said, before I actually made it there for people to know my name, I tagged every person. I did free work. I paid photographers. I paid, you name it. I did everything I could to attract people to my page and to my name and to my craft. And it sounds like it was easy, but it was not
No,
an actually
no,
easy journey. But
it's not
from the
easy.
moment I told God that everyone will know how he turned my life around, literally things changed for me in a matter of months.
Amazing.
I put
Amazing.
the work in too, and
Yeah.
God is still keeping his side of the
Bargain.
and the deal, and I'm still keeping mine.
Well, that's phenomenal, and I hope that for everybody who's listening, that things that sometimes things do come easy, and there is great opportunities, but Lala was out there looking and open to opportunities. That's how it is, and work hard for it. It's amazing. Now, um, I'm thinking, I'm listening to your story, and I'm envisioning you. Yeah, it's like a movie. I'm just like watching a movie right now of Lala, from the day you got here to the where you are today. And if you could tell your old self, Lala, how to get to where you are today, what would you cut out, or what would you say to her?
I would say to her to listen less to what the people think, talk about her, and do more of what her heart is telling her to do.
Amen.
And one thing that I want to tell everyone, and what actually kept me going, what kept me going was my daughter, honestly. But through hardship and everything that I've been through in this country, because I only had it better in the past 5, 6 years. The rest, it was literally just a struggle. But every time I went through hardship, I remembered my mom telling me as a child and as a teenager, every time I am the kind of person that gets excited very fast about everything, and I make plans, and I'm all in it. And the moment I get into something hard, I'm like, nah, this is not for me. That was me as a teenager, as a kid. Eventually I matured, and I'm not I do not give up that easy anymore. But that was me back then. And I remember starting things all the time and getting excited, and then going and complaining about it to my mom. And my mom used to tell me this all the time: Lala, I don't want to hear it. We're going to talk about this problem once. The second time you come to me, I want to hear how many solutions you find for it. And I want you to remember one thing: your success in life, regardless of what you're going to do or start, is based on how many solutions you can come up for that problem, not how many excuses you can find.
Oh my God, golds. That somebody needs to drop it in the chat because these are nuggets. Um, and it's funny because I was going to tell you that 2019, the end of 2019, was a boomerang for all of us. It was a huge year for life changes, right? And 2020, we answered 2020. 2020 really was a lot to work and find solutions, and everybody was ramping up and trying to find solution. It was the survivor in us was jumping. But 2021 seems to be a very tougher year for most of us, much tougher year, and I feel like a lot of people are exhausted. I hear
Lost
that a
hope,
lot. Lost homes, lost work,
hope.
uh, hope. Yes, that's what you said. Hope, lost hope, and lost, and what they loved is not there so much anymore. What can you tell them, the people who are working really hard, and that was a great tip for your mom. And so, if there's anything else that you can tell salon owners, um, artists that want to be like you, um, people that are just sometimes giving up on their dreams, because I'm sure you've had
I
dealt with
might
something like
sound
this
harsh
many
right
times.
now. I might sound harsh right now, but I truly believe that people who give up on their dreams are not really in love with that dream. I truly feel that if you want something deeply and with all your heart, you will never give up to that thing. You might take a break, you might get away from it for a while, but I don't think you ever give up on your dreams if those are really your dreams. So I'm not a quitter, and I honestly I think the only way to success and to make it and see your dreams come true is to fall and stand up and fall and stand up and fall and learn from that fall and then stand up and don't do that mistake again. And then life, it's a cycle, it's ups and downs, and the only way to make it to the top is like taking a bruise and then get up and keep climbing. That's the
Yeah,
only way to make it. And that's my story. I got bruises, and I have a lot of bruises inside and out. And every time I was down, and even if I felt overwhelmed and I felt like quitting, I got some rest, and then I got up again. And I think the most important thing is to not lose hope. But one thing that I have learned from 2020, I cannot say that 2021 it was worse for me. I feel like 2020 was the worst for me. I really felt like I lost myself in 2020, and instead of using all that free time that I had working on a plan B, I was so desperate that I let myself like literally go the whole year without doing anything because I felt like I have no hope. I think that was actually the longest period in my life of letting myself go and letting hope go. But
yeah,
I think the reason for that happening in my life is because I've been through a lot with my family. I almost lost my daughter last year. So what I can tell people, for me, 2020, not as career. I realized that I love my career, but in the same time, I realized that if any of this, because overnight my career was pretty much gone in 2020. I mean,
yes,
it was still there. People knew who I was, but I
yes, of
did not
course.
do what I loved the most. I did not work for a year, period.
Yeah,
So, and if that was keep going, you could pretty much tell, okay, my career is off. What now? Okay.
yeah, yeah,
And by thinking like that, I realized in 2020, when I realized what is actually very important for me, I realized that do not suffer because of that. And I will be totally fine if nobody knew who I was tomorrow. And if I lost everything that I worked so hard for, I would be totally fine if I have my family, my health, and my happiness.
Amazing. And I think that's super important to realize that there you come first. That you come first, because without you there wouldn't be anything else. And you need to be feeling good in your skin and know what's the most important thing in your life for you.
I think for people to realize what is really important for them, they need to think, if what I love the most tomorrow is gone, is this the most important thing for me? Because that's what 2020 did for me.
Yeah.
Is my career most important for me, or it's my family and my health and my happiness and my peace? And I realized I will be happy doing anything else if I make a good living and I get to spend quality time with my family. So
Yeah.
I think it's very important to chase those dreams, but in the same time to really, really think about what really matters for you. And
Wow.
everything is gone tomorrow. Does that really matter for you? Are you gonna be happy?
Yeah. That's where it comes down to the most important thing. You really have to find, in your day, do the things that you really love doing. Of course, there's going to be some things that you don't like doing, but you have to do them. It's important to know that time is more important than anything.
Exactly.
And you can never, it's like getting to the idea. And Lala, I went through this the same that you did. I went through this, owning a business, being a mom, two children. It's very difficult when you're an entrepreneur and you raise your kids, and you want to provide to your family. You want to get there, and you want to be successful. You want to know that all this hard work and hard time got you to where you need to be. But it wasn't. And I always thought money is more important. Let's get more haircuts. Let's squeeze another person. Let's do more this. Let's say yes to everything. But at the end of the day, time is more important than money. And if you have the time to think, if you have the time to plan, if you have the time to give to yourself, money will come. And it always does, always does.
Exactly.
So, oh,
Exactly.
I
And I have
love this
experienced that.
conversation so much. I love this conversation. You're talking to my heart.
I mean, like you just said, once your heart is in the right place, the money are coming. And I've seen that into 2021. When I stopped worrying about money and all that, opportunities just knocked on my door. I got to the point where I'm not working with any brands, creating any content for any brands. The first time in my career when I'm not working with any brands. I'm like literally just working on my brand and I'm totally fine.
Yes, exactly.
And
And
this is one thing that 2020 taught me. Do not rely on anyone when it comes to your finances. Have your own shit going on. And that's what I'm
exactly.
working on right now, and I'm doing just fine. And I let all that fear paralyze me in 2020, but I'm happy that it paralyzed me because I had the time to pay attention to my family and see what's going on.
Looking at the past, when we get paralyzed and when we get traumatized and we get shocked, something amazing come out. Looking at your first wedding experience, what came out, right? So life has this nice thing about it to shake us so good, so we can be present, so we can find the things that makes us happy and makes it worth for us. And so I think that's so good, those traumatic events and shakes. I mean, with all due respect to all the suffering that went in this world at the same time, of course. So,
I think one thing that I realized after everything that happened in the past 2 years, Ronit, is that in order to have peace, you need to be self sufficient. You cannot rely on anyone financially and have peace. When things like this happen, you always need to have plan B. And this is what I leave everyone with out of this conversation. Have a plan B. make sure that you have the resources to make a living on your own. Not everyone has this opportunity, I know, but us as stylists, we do have that opportunity. To We have a skill, we have a talent in our hand. We can put that to work anytime. We don't have to work for someone to actually make a living. So we do have the opportunity to be independent financially and
Yeah.
be self-sufficient and not stress about times like this when it's happening.
Yes. Yes.
So
That
I
is
what
true.
I want to leave the people with is to cherish their time with their loved ones, because that's the most important one. Always have a plan B, because we never know what tomorrow holds, and put their priority in order, and really, really sit down and talk to themselves and figure out what actually really matters to them. Because if you want to put your time and your efforts and waste your life into something, you better waste it, in the things that you love, that help you spend quality time with your loved ones, and you have the money to survive in emergency situations like this.
Now, Lala, just before we say goodbye, because we are coming to the hour, I do want to mention that you did launch your brand,
Yes,
and that you are going to be in Premier Orlando. We're going to be there together, so I'm going to come and give you the biggest hug.
I cannot
Uh,
wait.
and for women to women, I build and I help salon and spa owners build a tremendous amount of profit in their business and great wealth, so they can have the time, to do exactly what they want. Lala, tell me about your business now. Where are you taking it, and how can I support you in that?
Well, right now I'm working on my online education that nobody bought last year. But what I did last year, because we were in quarantine, most of my online education was on mannequins. So what I've been working in the past 4 months is tutorials on real people. So all my tutorials are on different models, different textures, different lengths. Everything is different, and I put my heart and soul in it. I'm hoping to be able to launch all this. I've been teasing the people a lot. I got a great response on it. People cannot wait to sign up for it. I laid out the totally different plan for my online education, and I've learned a lot from other friends that launched theirs. So I am committed, and I know for sure that it's going to work this time, because it's different. I launched my texturizing iron, which I literally built it from scratch, and I worked on it for 2.5 years until November of last year when I launched it. And it's actually a preparation tool. It's the first preparation tool, styling tool on the market, and it's built totally different. But that's a different story. And I'm working on. Actually, I worked already. It's almost ready to be published. This summer, I worked on a educational book, a step by step for all those who are sick and tired to watch those videos and wonder which step they.
Amazing. Yes.
So this will be a step-by-step book for all those people who don't like to watch videos, and I'm hoping to be able to publish and launch that one by the end of this year as well. And my dream is actually to come up with a full line of hot tools, my own line of hot tools, and everything bridal. No, nobody really has a line with just bridal out there. So that's my dream, to actually come up with a kit and everything else that is bridal. Everything that I use on a daily basis, I want it on the market. Of
Yeah.
course, that's time consuming and it's financially challenging, but I know
Will
that
happen. I
other
am
of
sure.
my dreams, eventually all of them will come true.
I am sure they will. And I'll be right there behind you, girl.
Thank you so much.
Well, listen, this has been an inspiring conversation. We got a lot of comments that we have inspired, and everybody
Where
is
would I be
grateful for
able
the.
to see those? You have to tell me.
Yes, of course. I will share with you afterwards when
Okay.
how you can see all of them. But yes, everybody. If you look at me, I have my two hands, and I'm just like trying to just like really get all the things that I need to get for the show. So I don't respond right away, but I will come back, and so would Lala. But for anyone, come and visit Lala at Premier Orlando. Come say hello to me. I'm teaching Profit First and salon and spa owners and anybody who wants to learn how to be profitable at Premier Orlando, and Lala is going to be teaching her beautiful bridal techniques. And you know what, Lala, I would love to have you back on Huddle Time. Maybe we can talk about the profit and how to set up uh, your um, your system for bridals. You know, how do you charge them? What do you charge for? You know, everything that has to do with creating a very good experience in your salon or in your suite, so you can really maximize your time and be profitable.
Absolutely. I would love actually to, that's something that I get asked in my classes all the time. How did I started my pricing? How did I go, went up? What contracts I used? How I dealt with Brazilias and all that. That's actually because you can have all the skills in the world, but if you're not a good business person, you're not going to be able to make any money. And
Yes.
I've learned from the hard lessons, not because someone taught me. So I would be more than happy to share all that experience with others.
I think that would be great. Now we are in premiere in October. Is it
17, 18.
10? What is it? 10?
October 17, 18.
Okay, 17 and 18. Yes.
I will
And
be on the main stage both days.
both day. Okay. So everybody knows, and we'll see you in Orlando. And thank you so much, Lala. This has been such an amazing conversation. Now I'm gonna get off live, but don't get out of the room. I'll be
Okay.
right back.
Thank you everyone for tuning in. And thank you for having me, Ronit.
Oh, thank you. Pleasure.